There's nothing else left to be said, man. We have put all the ads out there, all the shout outs and everything. And guess what? This is the sequel. Cubfidential Season 2 begins now. I'm your producer, Denzel Snipes, and welcome. Spring training right around the corner, but wanted to get an episode out of the way that has like the free agency offseason kind of wrap up. And we got a mysterious guest tonight. Hadn't seen this brother in a minute. I'll let you tell it. Let's bring on the host. JB Ellis, come on in. Welcome back, brother.
Wow. The Super Bowl's over. I finally got like a week of rest. And guess what? It's baseball time. We're getting ready. We're here for Cubfidential. And not only are we here, we got someone that we don't see very often anymore. So this is pretty exciting. So let's start right off because a lot of things happen in the offseason. I'm excited to talk about a lot of things, some Cubs prospects, some signings, where we see the year going. Let's bring in the one and only Tyler Ingram, T.I. What's going on, man? Long time.
What's up? What's up? Good to be here. Thought I'd pop in here. We're talking about my beloved Cubbies, all your guys' beloved Cubbies as well. So I'm excited to be here, excited to talk some baseball.
So, I mean, already season 2 is already better than season 1 because we got you here. So that already the Cubs have got one win and we haven't even started yet.
There we go. Fly the W.
There you go. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about the prospects of the organization. So the Cubs have probably one of the best minor league systems in the game right now. Denzel put up the names. We got Pete Crow-Armstrong, Brennan Davis, Alcantara, Mervis, and Horton. What are we looking for to these guys as this year progresses, and where do you see them fitting in long term?
I see a lot. I see so much potential here. Like when you look at these top 5 guys, and a lot of these were acquired when the Cubs blew things up a couple seasons ago when we moved Javier Baez to bring in, Crow-Armstrong came from the Mets. We traded Rizzo away to the Yankees. That's where we got Alcantara. Matt Mervis is such a feel-good story because he was the 39th round selection in 2016. He wasn't signed after that. He has worked his way up through the minor leagues. He is looking like this everyday starter in the future at first base. You look at Brennan Davis. Brennan Davis has kind of had some hiccups with his injuries. But he's one of the more defensively sound outfielders in the whole prospects list in all the farm leagues across the entire United States. And then 5th, you look at Cade Horton. A lot of people wonder who Cade Horton is. He was the 7th pick in the draft this last year. He led Oklahoma all the way to the College World Series. This is a very, very, I'm very high on Cade Horton for the future. I think he's going to be an excellent pitcher. I'm really high on these 5 prospects right here for the Cubs. And I think in the future, this really shapes us, to kind of get back into contention and possibly be winning the Central for a few years to come as well.
So how long till these young guys and this team could make a serious run at winning the division?
I think we're looking here at around like 2 to 3 years, like the window. I think we're going to see Matt Mervis, for example. I think he's going to be called up this season. I think it's about time. He got moved up to AAA. He's been raking. He's kind of worked his way up to the system. I think he actually, we all talk about Anthony Rizzo and how much we miss Anthony Rizzo. I think you look at this Matt Mervis kid and you see a lot of Anthony Rizzo in him. He's got a lot of pop to the bat. He's got a lot of power. He has a really, really strong work ethic. So I'm thinking like this year we're going to start seeing the Cubs rise a little bit. I'll let Jacob and whoever else step in here to talk about some of our free agent signings. But I think the Cubs are going to rise a little bit. And then in about 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a really strong Cubs team in the Central. And I think we're going to be winning that division.
So what's the goal for development for these 5 guys this year? What are you looking for out of the 5 of them, and where do you see it happening?
Well, the one thing that I want to really focus on here is going to be Brennan Davis's health. He's recovering from back surgery. He is one of the higher prospects, but however, he's been kind of platooned by injuries lately, so he's coming off of back surgery. So I want to see what Brennan Davis can do, because before that he was batting under 200. So now that he's coming from back surgery, I want to see where he is. Pete Crow Armstrong, I think I love watching that. I love having him in the system. I can't say it enough. This is going to be a potential Gold Glover. He's a base stealing threat. He can hit the ball. He's very good defensively. He's got a lot of tools in the bag. So I love Crow Armstrong. And then once again, I'll say it again, Matt Mervis is such a feel-good story. Matt Mervis was someone that nobody thought was going to make the major league. He has went up from single A to double A. Now he's playing in triple A this season. I think we're going to see him get called up, and I think we're going to see a lot from all 5 of these guys. But the one that I really want to keen in and watch, focus on, is going to be Brennan Davis because of his health this season.
So one of the guys the Cubs were really big on ended up getting a really serious injury last year, Ed Howard. He's a bit younger, couple of years in the minors, but really serious hip injury last year. What is expected from him this season?
So I think he's still kind of rehabbing. I think they're going to kind of gradually put him in, get him at bats, but I think they're going to kind of monitor him a little bit more, especially because a lot of people don't know that he is a hometown kid too. So like they love, if you know anything about Wrigley Field and have been there, it's such a family atmosphere. So I think like the Ed Howard selection, when we picked him up in the draft a couple of years ago, a lot of people were really high on that draft pick because we're finally getting a hometown kid. So I think they're going to kind of monitor him. But I do think he is going to come back at full strength. He's a tough kid. He's a really good baseball player. So I think, we're going to see around mid-season is when we're going to start seeing Ed Howard kind of pick up and kind of emerge himself. But they will be gradually kind of monitoring him for the beginning of the season for sure.
And one of the big problems last year, and probably the last couple of years, has been the bullpen and the use of it. I mean, are there any guys that you could think of in the minors that may come up later on that could be a help with that? Or
yeah, I mean, I think when we look at our bullpen, that's probably, I think in pitching in general is probably the weakness of the Cubs right now, if I'll be completely honest. I think like that's the thing that we're going to be watching all season in the majors. But I think in the minors, the good thing is that we had 9 selections in the draft this year that were all pitchers. So I think here in a couple of years, you're going to see some of these guys kind of emerge. I can't really pinpoint a name that I think is going to emerge above the rest. I actually think Cade Horton, even though a lot of people think he's going to be a starter down the road, I think he could also be a really good relief pitcher too, because he has worked the slider, and he's a kind of different pitcher because now he's doing things backwards. Most guys will throw fastballs, set it up, and then throw the slider, throw the curveball. He's different in the sense that he has a lot of downward bite to his slider. So he likes to work the slider early in the count and then use that fastball as the kill pitch, which is a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's only going to get faster at his age. He's only 20 years old. So I think he's going to be someone that we can really monitor, because I think everyone keeps talking about him as a starting pitcher in the future, but I think he could be a closer. I think he really can be a closer. He's got that kill pitch. He's going to be lights out when he hits the majors. So I really want everyone to focus in on Cade Horton, because Cade Horton's the real deal.
So let's go to our Cub or Dud. Mr. Cubfidentiality does his best to come up with the question every week, and it's preseason. We're in spring training. So this year, for the first show, we're going to go with wins before the All-Star break. Do you think the Cubs will be able to get to 45 wins before the All-Star break?
45 wins before the All-Star break. Yeah, I think it's possible. I would say around 40 to 45 wins. I think, I've been saying all season that I think this could be a winning season for the Cubs. I know the projections are out there that people are saying that they're going to win 70 games or they're going to win 75 games. I think this could be an 82, 85 win team. So I think 45 wins is doable by the All-Star break. I do.
Awesome. And then last thing, I saw in our in our notes here, and I'm waiting for Denzel to put that up. Look at that. You got the first This Cubs for You of the year. For you showing up, season 2, episode 1.
Oh, hey, I'll take it. We're going to fly the W's as much as we can this season. So let's fly the W's tonight. Why not?
So before you go, have you heard of the term a Ross loss?
Yes.
I think I coined it last year. I don't think I've ever heard it before. I think I want to get some T-shirts made up, and hopefully we don't only have to have about 75 to 80 of them this year. But
okay, yeah,
he scares me sometimes. His use of the bullpen, and the bench. I don't know.
I know, and the big thing here is going to be pitching. Like I said, I think pitching is the thing that really concerns me. I do like the James, I like Jameson Talon getting brought in and finally kind of having a 1-2 with Stroman in him. But after that, it starts getting shaky. You look at Smiley, you look at what Steele did last season. He had some moments he was really good, some moments he was really bad. And we don't know who this fifth starter is going to be. We're still having, we got this, that's what spring training is going to be all for. Is Sampson going to win the job? Are they going to go with Wisniewski, the prospect kid? Is he going to win the fifth job? So I'm a little concerned with pitching. But I think we have a defensively sound baseball team. I think we're going to hit the ball really well. And mark my words right now, you're going to see the breakout season from Seiya Suzuki this season.
Well, I love what you have to say, T.I. It was a pleasure seeing you. Hopefully you could do this a few more times throughout the season. You're always welcome, man. Pleasure seeing you again.
Appreciate it, JB. Thank you.
Thank you, man. All right, so that was Tyler Ingram. Next up, the guy that needs no introduction. As a matter of fact, I forget his introduction from last year. If anyone can remember and put it in the chat, I would love it. But I think it was Mr. Ubbs, if I'm correct. I don't, Mr. Cubfidentiality, am I correct? Was that the name? I'm waiting.
It was Mr. Ubbs. It was Mr. Ubbs.
Nice. We need Mr. Ubbs in the building. Mr. Ubbs, you're up.
Yeah, you come from the baby face to the worn out, gray haired. That's his prime. No, dude, let me just say that's definitely a joke because I'm far from past my prime. I promise you that.
We got a long way to go. Let's start with some of the moves in the offseason. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it a little different. What was the best move you think the Cubs made in this offseason?
Dansby, which I like. I love the Dansby one. It's just he's just consistent. He's at 280 with power, which is needed. I loved it whatsoever. I love Jameson Talon. Tie-in. Is it tie-in? Is it T-A-I?
I'm going to call him Talion.
Talion. Okay, it's like
that's what I'm going to call him. I make up my own names for everybody.
Talion. Okay, I'll say Talion, but it's like I love 14 wins there. Love 14 wins because here's what happened. When the few moments that Hendricks and I'm sorry, I'm a little tired tonight on this thing. The other big guy. Other big pitcher. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to say in the rotation. I'm trying to think for a second. I'm tired.
We're an hour earlier. You should be wide awake.
I know. No, but when they had a combination, second to none. I mean, the few times you have it awesome. You have that power pitching, and you've got that control from that unbelievable control. But then you had nothing else. Adding 14 wins there. Adding 14 wins right on the spot with some power, about 94, 96. I love that. That is so underrated. That's an underrated move, and I love it. And it's not a whole bunch of money, which is wonderful. I hate Bellinger.
Really?
Hate it.
Okay. I want your explanation on this because we all know Bellinger is a phenomenal player who just didn't play well the last couple of years.
3 years
He
in a
was
straight.
He was the 2019 NL MVP. So why don't you like this? What about it?
Well, I
makes
think
you
he's
think it's fair?
considering the amount of issues that we have with hitting right now. I think he's still got the work in the league. He was 165 one year. I know that Ian Happ made himself a comeback, but I'm like, the biggest issue that I have is the reason he still has a job is because the 14 teams in the league hit under 240. So no one's hitting. No one's hitting in a proper way. It's all home runs or it's all nothing. We've seen this. People don't steal bases in the same boat, and they haven't for years. Remember, there's no shift anymore, so a lot of the strategy is going to be gone. It's going to be a different game. The bases are bigger. But the biggest thing about it is I think he's got a job for that thing. But not only has his production like that gone down, his home runs have gone down. RBIs have gone down. His clutch hitting's gone down. They used to walk him to get to the next hitter, and they used to use it as a strategy. He's had 4 intentional walks in the last 3 years. There's nothing on this guy. He walks less. He strikes out. He had 150 strikeouts last year. He's not hitting as much power. He had a 210 average last year, 165 before that. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you have the NL MVP with 47 homers and 300. I don't know if you can come back when it's one thing. You can come back when other things went, when other things go up or they stay there. Everything of this guy's game went, and his hitting went down. Everything. And he had 144 games last year with a 210 average. So the thing is, when you have 1 year of a bad year, it's one thing. He's had 3.
I disagree. For what they're paying him, he's a bargain. And if he could show half of what he was in 2019, if they can get him between where he is last year to half of 2019, they got the biggest bargain in baseball.
Well, the problem is, see, I always try to look for a certain statistic you might have and stuff like that. I mean, especially when you look at, remember, he's the MVP, and then he was also the Rookie of the Year, 2017. He was all of those. You're trying to look for anything. Everything went down. So is it totally an injury? Is he in his own head? Is there a Rick Ankiel for hitters in there somewhere? Because the minute there was a contract, and I'm not going to go the route of, it's just money. He didn't care. I think he absolutely cares. I think he loves the game. I think just something got into his head that he hasn't been able to get out of there.
Wow. This is the first time this year, 18 minutes, 30 seconds into season 2, show 1, that we disagree. I know we were disagreeing an hour earlier, but I expect you to be in line on this show.
You're talking to the person who's never in line.
So
yeah, but
now,
no. Will, let me say this. It's like you talked about the media being away from the LA pressure. Cubs and Bears media is brutal. It may not be LA, it may not be New York, but they're brutal in their own end. This isn't Kansas City. If he keeps hitting 210 here, Mike North and the rest of those guys are going to beat him up too.
And what about adding Mancini? How do you feel about that?
I'm going to go with the same with Dansby and the same with everything like that. I liked about everything about that offseason. Everything about the offseason except Bellinger. It's like I love Mancini. I love the Dansby. I love the Italian. Love the couple. And I do like what you were talking about with Tyler. I like the minor leaguers. And the only thing is, I think they're missing a perfect thing, by the way. It's like if you get Crow Armstrong in there, you got to have a whole front row of Crow T robots to promote him, to be able to promote him if he gets hot. So you got to be able to get those. So you got a perfect promotional thing there. But no, I like Mancini. Overall, I'm going to give this offseason a B. I'm going to give the offseason a B.
Wow.
I would have liked.
You're a tough judge here.
Yeah, but I'm going to say it's a B because the A would have been the big monster players that people were going after. But overall, they got Dansby, which here I'm in Atlanta. So I know how good the guy is. I love that. I love seeing him.
I think they got, quality guys all around. I don't think that they overspent. And I think it showed that they have interest in trying to get to be a winning team. I think with the guys they signed next year with the young guys, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Well, one of the biggest things I'm going to be looking forward to on this, okay, this is what I'll say. You talk about when does the Cubs win the division? When do they win the division? All that stuff. Here's what I'm saying. Right now, you got Wilson Contreras instead of Yachty now, but it's still the top quality catcher and everything like that. Wait until their final Wainwright and a couple of their leaders are gone in St. Louis and they have to start it all over. Will they? I'm just saying, St. Louis. It's like, mind you,
I'm going to cut you off a second.
Yeah.
21 minutes and 20 seconds into season number 2. You mentioned the name that you'll never.
Are you sleeping? Are you paused? What's going on? What did you do?
You mentioned the name that shall never be mentioned. It was such a bad mention of a name. It killed my internet. We will never mention that name on here again.
Oh, Wainwright. Oh, but no, it's killing his internet. Period. But what is he doing, Denzel?
I think he's a little froze up.
Yeah,
I think he's a little frozen. Let me temporarily fill in until he gets back.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Maybe he got some of his cigarette ash on the internet. Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe he did.
but no. Overall, this is where I'm bringing that. This is what I'm saying, man. I think there was a B. It was a B grade. Solid off season. I liked it. It's like I would have loved a little more of a power move, but they didn't overspend. And this is the thing I was trying to bring up. My wife, okay. But the biggest thing I'm looking at, he's saying his Wi-Fi left us, so I guess you're leading the door here. But
yeah,
this is the thing. What I was bringing up is the fact you watch for St. Louis. I think they have another year where they're going to be this way, but they have not had over 90 loss season in 30 years. Right. They are constant. What I want the Cubs to be. But what happens now? But you got to remember, a lot of these years they've had Wainwright, Yachty, and then they brought Pujols back one more year. But they had Wainwright and Yachty. What is going to happen when they don't have the same leadership anymore? And it's like, and remember, they have it's a good thing they got Ali Ali as a Oliver, what was his name? Their manager. They got him, but it's a good thing they got the leadership on the field. But what will they do? That's where the Cubs can come into play and go get a division, go steal some divisions. Yes. Now they're to win in the playoffs. They're gonna need more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Listen,
that was him. He's coming back.
I left the studio.
There he is.
I just got up and walked out. That's how bad that name is.
But what I was bringing up was the fact that it's like the Cubs can start stealing some divisions against St. Louis over the years because they're not going to have. They're going to lose within the next year. They're going to lose all of their people, that were in their leadership. So now you start over. I don't think they're going to be losing 90 or anything like that. I don't think it'll be terrible because they're the Cardinals. But the Cubs can steal divisions again. They can start doing this stuff again. That's wonderful. They're going to start building, and they're building a team. And you're right. They're going to be building a winner. Are you there?
Listen, I'm not listening to you talk about it. I don't care. My internet knows that we're not going to talk about it. So let's get to my favorite part of
Denzel. He's frozen again.
He did freeze. It looks like when you mentioned that name.
What name did I mention?
I think it was Wainwright. He just totally
put him on the Cubs. Then let's put him on the Cubs. Then
he just totally. You know what? I forgot Wainwright was even
Cubs.
I forgot he was even still pitching. Like, wow, that's crazy.
No, but let's put him on the Cubs and just have him forget about the freeze.
Oh man.
But no, here's what I'm saying about Dexter Fowler. Getting rid of him was Dexter Fowler was the end of that. It's like losing him. He was the leader of that hitting, the number one, started his home runs. He started with our hitting. Very clutch. Everything wonderful, wonderful defense. And here's what the thing was. We had somewhere around 200 some odd lineups since he was gone. We used to have the same lineup all the time, had him at number one. We've had how many different leadoff hitters, which I still want Suzuki to be one day. I love Seiya Suzuki. But the thing was, losing Dexter Fowler was enormous because we could have had another World Series or two if they would have kept him as a leadoff hitter. Just switching off leadoff hitters all the time just hurt this team. And then we hit the bottom at that point. So yeah, I'm gonna miss Dexter huge, and we appreciate him for the World Series.
All right, well that was a great answer. I always loved Dexter Fowler. He was a fun guy to watch. So Cup or dud? I hit the wrong one. My internet tonight is doing. Your
internet is dud. Your internet's a dud.
Yes. So Cup or dud? 45 wins by the All-Star break.
Right at. I'll say Cub. Right at. Because I love Jameson Tyon. I love Jameson Tyon. I think that brings another 3 in there. I would love to see who's going to be our 4 and 5. But I love him there. I think with all of our, I think the pitching staff's better. I'm still wondering about our bullpen. But overall, I like where we can add. And yeah, I see right at 45, right there. That's 45 and 30. That's 45 and 37, 39. That's not bad at all for an All-Star break. That puts you normally in this division around 3rd place. That's a start that you can make. If you're bound to make a run, you can.
All right, Jacob. Where can people find you? And then we're going to head out of here till next week. Let me know.
Okay, Sunday nights. Sunday nights is Basket Bros. Monday nights is Pundit Views. I'm doing all the interviews types we have. Tuesday nights is off. I actually get to sleep. Wednesday nights, triple header now. Pundits Pundit, Sports Exchange, Cubfidential. Thursday nights is Yin and Yang with TJ Sanson. We're on a little hiatus, but we're getting there. Fridays once in a blue moon. We get Fridays once in a blue moon. When they give me a call, I do the gauntlet as far as the backup and everything, and then back to the thing. Plus, I'm doing plus we're working on a short film and doing some other stuff too.
Well, Jacob, Mr. Ubbs himself, season 2 is in the books. We're starting. It was fun. Make sure you follow JB_the program on Twitter. Sideline Sports 8:30 every Tuesday. Added our new co-host Dave DeRocher. He'll be on every week. Great guy. We have about 18 shows on the network. If you're not following us, at Sideline Sports 1 on Twitter, or the Sideline Sports Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, you're missing out on some great talent. It was fun. We'll see you all next week. Show number 2 of the season. Get some rest, people. We got an hour extra rest because we started at 9 Central.